Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Let me know if the sound is good. How you doing via XP? Hey Gen B. Hello, hello. Thank you via XP. Hey Christina, good afternoon. How you doing? Hey Val, good morning. So while we give it a couple of minutes while everyone is streaming in, quick risk disclaimer: this live market analysis is sponsored by Max Global Markets, a brokerage firm that is registered and regulated by the Monetary Authority of Singapore. Max Global Markets has no control over or influence over the contents of this web analysis, which is generated by an independent party, myself. Max Global Market sponsorship of this video is only for promotional purposes and does not imply support of the material or viewpoints represented. The views and opinions represented in this study are those of the independent entity, myself, that created it and does not necessarily reflect those of Max Global Markets. The information on this analysis is offered solely for educational and informational reasons and does not constitute financial advice. All right. So the same disclaimer, please, before you jump into any trades, make sure you do your own analysis before you jump into any trades. So with that, let's get to it. A big welcome there. Hi Diana, good to have you back. How are you doing? Hey D-Train, how are you doing there? If you are new to the session, do drop a message, say hi, let us know where you're joining us from. And if you haven't already, the Discord channel link is there for you guys. Please do join. It is absolutely free to join, and you can take our discussions beyond this 1 hour session into Discord, where I share with you some of the trades that I do get into, and when I get out of trades as well. So the one trade I had from yesterday was the US yen. I was sharing that during a live stream, the setup, and then as it happened in the Discord channel. And early this morning, woke up and I saw the US yen had closed out with my take profit about 52 pips. No, not about exactly 52 pips. So I was very happy with that. After it closed out, I'll show you the yen here. After the yen, right as it came down, it went a little bit lower. Not a little bit, it went quite a bit lower. We had my take profit about 148.32 if I'm not wrong. So 52 pips there. It went down to 148.17, so a little bit more, and then bounced right back up. So again, this highlights the crucial importance of that support, of having clear support levels, where we saw here on the 5th of October, on the 6th of October, it's found some support there. So that's why I have my take profit level right at that point. Okay. And then now bounce back up. If you thought that it was going to go all the way down there, then your trade would have made money and now gone back up to break even or possibly losing money from at this point. So that was my one trade from last night or from yesterday. Good 50 pips, 52. How did you guys go? Let me know if you jumped into any trades, if you made any good trades or bad trades. Let me know. If you have any questions at any point in time, put it into the chat and let me know as well. All right. Hey Jimmy, how you doing? Hey Ken, good morning. Good to see you all. So with all that, I'm feeling a bit under. With all that, now looking at the news. Okay, so what happened last night or what happened yesterday? A whole lot of nothing much, right? A whole lot of nothing much because there was not a lot of news released or no news released last night what we saw from last night was that the dollar, and I was highlighting this to you guys as I posted this analysis up on TradingView. We were looking for it to break above that 61.8 level to push to the upside, but 61.8 held. Right, I posted about 4 o'clock there, so it held, it was coming back down, and what we saw was the dollar index actually tracked right back down to that equal low here from Friday at 105.96, right, almost 105.95, and now showing a bit of a rebound back up again. So last night, with no major news, we actually saw the dollar index track a bit lower, right, track a bit lower. But despite dollar index tracking lower, we actually saw, well, in addition to the dollar index tracking lower, we saw the yen push down. Partly, I think, is that dollar weakness and also that move towards reserve. Okay, and then also, although there were no major news from last night, I think if we check this, hey Zachary, how you doing? If we check this, this was terrible. This was 72.9 or 76 or 78 yesterday. I can't remember. But it is now at 87. So it's 87% chance that the Fed Reserve is going to hold interest rates in the upcoming, or at the upcoming meeting on the 1st of November. 1st of November sounds very far away, but we're already at the 10th of October. So high chance of that, high 87% chance that the Fed Reserve will hold interest rates. And that's probably one of the other factors leading to that weakness in the dollar, right? That weakness in the dollar leading the dollar index to push to the downside as the bets for further rate hikes diminish. Okay, makes sense to everyone on that? So that pushed down, one, because of, no, I don't want to say no further escalation, because it's still quite a big deal of what's happening in the Israeli Gaza area, Gaza Strip area, but no major further developments there. And that's why we didn't see a bigger push towards reserve. And then the next part was that we saw the likelihood for further rate increases diminish quite significantly. And that's why we saw the dollar index weaken right back down to that almost 106 round number support level. Okay. Hey Desiree, how you doing? Hey Rita. Hey Matic. Good morning. So with what's happening now, that small rebound, one thing to note as well, I don't think, there we go. US rushing air defenses and munitions to Israel, defense official says. So it looks like the US is going to get involved. The US is going to get involved, which possibly, and you can see this was 5 hours ago, right? So this was 5 hours ago, and if you track it back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's where we started seeing it bounce back up. Right, so as the US gets involved, it looks like it might be a further escalation, which looks like another move towards reserve. But right now, it's going to be super choppy. I think that with no other major news on the horizon for now, the focus is going to be on how involved or how terrible, it's really terrible, or how involved the US or the global forces are going to be with the conflict that's happening right now. Okay, so we might see that push towards reserve continue. So that was that one. And you see gold and oil surge on geopolitical risk. All right, gold surging because of that. I know I'm switching between screens a lot, so I hope you're following me well. Right, gold surged to the upside. It broke out of that consolidation, pushed right up to the 1865 level that moved towards reserve, the reserve commodity in this case. And then also oil pushed up because if you're going to go to war, you're going to need a lot more oil. So that's what's happened on the gold and the oil just based on the headlines alone. Make sense so far? Give me a thumbs up, give me an okay, give me a reaction somehow. Let me know if it's makes sense to all of you. So with that said, then for today, not much else. You can see. Val says, in your experience, how do these type of crises affect non-US currency pairs? It affects non-US currency pairs in a rather similar fashion, right? Oh wow! I just saw that contemplates raising fiscal price outlook. Okay, it affects the non US currency pairs in a similar fashion because as much as they might not be a US currency pair, US based currency pair, they are on the other portion, they are still going to be traded against the US dollar. So still going to be choppy. We're still going to be seeing a bit of a chop and change in directions in price action. I would say that with the news, with the conflict right now, the most recent one that we had was with the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Okay, the Russia-Ukraine conflict. I want to say it was beginning of this year, but it's actually more the beginning of last year. So there was about a year and a half ago, and that was quite a when that happened, we actually saw very right across the board on all the currency pairs very choppy price action, despite it not happening very close to the US. And I think for a very long time, the US held back on getting involved as well. Okay, so right now, my approach to the markets is not so much short term, right? The reason why it's not very short term is because if you look at it, you're going to see a lot of spikes and a quick retrace. You're going to be looking at technical levels quite closely. I would do it more on the medium term, right? If you do it on a short term, you might get caught out by spikes and retraces. So I look at it more on a medium term and also, if possible, in the much longer term view. Okay, so that's a very good question there, Val. So I hope I answered your question there. Thanks for the thumbs up or that little okay from Matic, Hitchcock, and D-Train. I appreciate that. Hey, Kigusi, how you doing? Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Zachary. Hey, Spiros, how you doing? Okay, so with that, then looking at the news for today, we did have a whole bunch of people speaking. Didn't do too much. NAB business conference, not too much. Chinese loans. Chinese loans is going to be something that's going to be, I don't think right now, but maybe later into the year or into early next year, I think it's going to be a problem because the Chinese country garden, I don't know what's country garden, but country garden says it might not meet all its debt obligations. So it looks like it's on that slippery slope to the downside. Okay, at 5:30 p.m. GMT plus 8, we do have the UK with their FPC meeting minutes and FPC statement. Yesterday, I was saying that this might lead to some volatility on the pound dollar. However, I think that with the way the global geopolitical uncertainty is happening, this might be overshadowed a little bit. I think that we're going to be seeing more dominant displays of trend deriving from the dollar index. Okay, and then tentatively we have President Lagarde speaking at a panel discussion facing the great systemic shocks, how to foster stability movement in the... Yeah, I'm not concerned about that. And then on to tomorrow's PPI, which I'll tell you about more tomorrow. The US PPI, core PPI, meeting minutes, GDP for the UK, and CPI for the US. Okay, so I'll tell you more about that in the next sessions ahead. But right now, it looks like it's relatively... it's not calm. It's not. It's not relatively calm. It's relatively empty in terms of fundamental news. But I think that the focus is going to be on the dollar index. With that said, let's look at the dollar index. 61.8 held. We keep that there. From this big move, 61.8 technically broken, but I'll keep that there still. Think of it as an area. 50 is still valid there. So I want you to consider this as a good support area. Let me just check that. Okay, so I want to consider this whole thing as a good support because we have 50% here and that swing low. So I'll take that as a support area. Now let me check this. That one's done. That cleared out everything, okay. And then that one's good. 61 is there. That held. Let's see, what can we do here? Because I'm actually catching this top to this bottom, so that 61 technically doesn't come into play. That 50% comes closer. So what I'm actually looking at here is more on this 50, like that, right? Because I'm catching this top here of the move to this bottom. So it's after it spiked up and continued back down to this bottom here. So that's my 50% retracement level, which has come close. And this short-term move, that's my 61.8. So I would say that that whole thing is a bit of a resistance area. Then I'll catch this right at the top there. Okay, so there it is. So that's the view, that's my view of the dollar index. Right, it's found a good support, bounced off 106, pushing to the upside. I want to see, so I'm going to maintain a similar view just in terms of, just updating in terms of the number. Right, dollar index bounced off 106. I want to see it climb to 106.60, and if it breaks that, then maybe we even see 106.90. Right, and then break that to 106.90. Oops, that's a hiccup. The only question I have for myself is whether it's going to turn back down, because it is on that downward push. It is on that downward push right now. I think it will come up to here. I think it might be a bit unlikely to get to 106.90. Right, most likely you're going to come up to here and continue within this range. So I think that it could climb to 106.60, could range between 106 and 106.60. So I think it could do that in that range. In a super small move, let's add that 50. Okay, could break that 50 back up again. Considering the possibility that it could come down towards 105.66, could happen, but I think a little bit less unlikely. So that's what I would be looking for. Okay, a push to this resistance level. Hey Pips Apprentice, how you doing? And then only if it breaks past 106.65, we could see it come towards 106.90. But I think that it's going to come to that level and then bounce around there. Bounced off 106, could climb to this, could range between that. Okay. Maybe it will retrace to 106.45 area. 106.45 is about there. Yep. I think it. I actually think so. Zachary said that it could get to that 106.45 level, which is about there. I think that if it does push up to this level, most likely it's going to do a false break and then come back down again. Something similar to what happened here. Okay, so just go up. Look like they're going to convince everyone that they're going to continue pushing higher, and then after that, a big retrace back down. But I think that is good. Main thing is that short-term strength, possibly short-term strength on the dollar before a range between 106 and 106.60. Okay, so short-term strength on the dollar is leading to this view. Look at that channel. Look at the dollar, the Kiwi dollar, right? I did not get into this move. I missed out on this move as it pushed up to that 30 pips up to that channel, top of the channel. We can extend this and also see 38.2 there. So what I'm looking at, and this was what we talked about yesterday, was that it was a two-part series on the Kiwi dollar. We're looking for it to go up, we're looking for it to test, and then push back down, break that level to turn down, right? So right now, as it's pushing down, if that dollar strength does continue to come around, then what I would be looking for is for it to break this resistance turned support at 5980, and then at 38.2 right there as well, right? So if it breaks past this point and it breaks out of that channel, we could see further downside on the Kiwi dollar. I don't think it's going to go all the way down. I'll pick that last swing point there, about 40 pips. Breaking that support level, you could go tight, no more than 20 pips here, a 1:2 to the downside here on the Kiwi dollar. I don't like this as much. I like the Aussie dollar more, and I'll show it to you shortly. Okay, so yesterday I liked the Kiwi a lot more than the Aussie. Today I like the Aussie a lot more than the Kiwi dollar. So 5973, 20 to 40. So we're looking at the Kiwi to sell 0.5973, stop loss 20. Am I doing right? Yep. Take profit 40 to the downside. All right, a 1:2 to the downside. Just need to see what the dollar index is doing. It doesn't look like it wants to climb, but I think it's just a little bit of a slow down. Then onto the Aussie, right? This is why I was saying that I like the Aussie a lot more than the Kiwi at this time. We saw this yesterday. We said, hey, could get to 50 test and then look for it to break back down to the downside. It did a little bit more than that. It pushed up to that 61.8 level, right? Tested 61, broke a bit above 61.8, push back down again. So at this point, if I just moved it right across, I would even be looking at 6383. 20 pip stop loss. So it's not ready yet. Don't rush into it. Disclaimer applies. Don't rush into it, but 20 pip stop loss here. I don't think 90 will be reasonable. Even if you did 60 to the downside, would be fair. If we looked at this, 61.8 might be there. So actually even 40 pips might be better. Might be. Hey Ismet, how you doing? Might be a bit more realistic there. So that's what I would be looking for on the Aussie. Breaking that support turned that resistance turned support level. Close below. So 6383. I wouldn't want to go higher. Higher might be a little bit too soon. Okay, 6383, 20 to 40 again. Okay, 6383, 20 pips to 40 pips. So although I said I like this gives you the opportunity. What happens here, or how I would manage this, or how I would think of this is that, if it comes down, it triggers my trade and continues pushing lower, then this will be a scenario where I'll move this to break even. Right, I put my stop loss at break even, and then after that push this down to that 60 pip level. Firstly, look for that. If it continues going lower, then I could even go down to that 80 pip, 90 pip level to the downside. Okay, but that's the first target that we'll be looking for. And the best case is it comes down slowly, tracks lower by tonight, and later tonight I move it down to 60 pips. By tomorrow it hits my 60 and I'm out. That would be another fantastic trade to do. So that's the Aussie dollar. And between the Aussie and the Kiwi is going to have a little bit more waiting time, more space to drop before we would trigger a trade. Aussie looks like it could be this hour, or it could be early next hour, right? Depending on how it moves for now. Yeah, okay. Then on to the US yen. We spoke about this already, but as it was dropping, so we were looking to sell down at that point. I did get in a little bit earlier, but because of that big push, I got in earlier on the yen despite it not closing below that point. Right, so I got in a little bit earlier as it was dropping. So I think it was along this point here, 6.5, I think, 148.65, went down to break even, left it, let it run. It actually came quite close to retrace and hit my break even stop loss, but then it continued down, and this morning at 7 a.m. it hit my take profit and I was out. So very happy with that on the US yen. Right now pushing right back up. Right, US yen bounced off that support and pushing right back up because of that dollar strength, that choppy dollar strength. As this pushes up, and also that headline that we just saw, that the BOJ contemplates raising fiscal year 2023 price outlook to near 3%. So I don't see why that's pushing it up. The only thing I can think of is the dollar strength, the choppy dollar strength pushing it up. But I would be considering that point and that point as, you know, where it hit previously and reversed down from. So it's not worth doing anything right now. If it does continue pushing higher, then you could be, if that dollar strength continues, then you could be looking at 149.50. Needs to close like that, 149.50. Almost a 50 pip take profit. Stop loss 25 or 1:2 to the upside, to that 150 level, right up towards 150. Could be looking for that. Break up, break above this area, makes sense. Go upside, yeah, okay. So 149.50, 25 to 50. Buy 149.50, stop loss 25, take profit 50 to the upside. Hey Amir Sor, you're most welcome there. I appreciate that. Thank you. Push up. Yep, okay, I'm happy with that. Check the Aussie, retrace a little bit. Plus the dollar is retracing a little bit. Now looking at the pound, did not, you know, I was very keen, right? I guess you guys, if you didn't join us yesterday, check out the session yesterday. But I was very keen on the pound trading down to that support. Did not happen. Right as I was ready to fire off a trade, thinking that it's going to break down. It didn't happen. And then it bounced back up. So just to share with you, digress and to share with you a little bit, is that why at this point, where is it? I didn't rush in to sell the pound dollar is because we are seeing it sit in a relatively equal, it didn't break a new low, right? It didn't break that low for me to rush, to feel that the momentum was there to rush into a trade. While on the US yen, I actually rushed in on that just because it was breaking a new, here, it was breaking that low, breaking out of that consolidation for me to kind of want to rush into the trade a little bit. Okay, so it broke out of consolidation. So I'm looking for it to break levels before getting into trades. Pound, dollar, 61.8 holds there. We have a bit of an equal, so this might be interesting in a sense that we have that double top there, right? Came back up, double top, might push back down. Trend line is maintaining. I don't see a trade here, despite that double top, right? Despite that double top, I don't see a trade here because of that very brief trend line. And it could come down to this point and bounce back up. Just that pound has been very choppy. I would rather, looking at the dollar sitting right across, I would rather look for the pound to do this. I'll show you. I would rather the pound do something similar to what it has been doing, right? Drop, consolidate, push back up. Drop, and then push back up. Now it's dropping. I want to maybe see it consolidate a little bit here before pushing back up to that resistance level again. And if it can come up to test that resistance, then I would be possibly more comfortable to sell it down from that point. So I want to see it test 1.2275 and possibly sell down from there. 1.2260, stop loss 25 pips. Take profit, even the nearest one to that trend line will be about almost 50 pips to the downside. Right, so I want to see it push up, test that resistance, reject that resistance, and then I'll be looking to sell down. Okay, I'll be happy with that. So pound dollar, that did not trigger. We'll say that look for reaction at resistance. Then we could sell at 1.2260. 2260, stop loss 25, take profit 50, back down to that trend line and 1.2210. Good, I like that. I like that one. I'm happy. I'm just watching this. I'm just wondering whether we need to review. We might review how the dollar index plays out as the hour goes along. Hey Bjorn, how you doing? I have some buys now at the pound dollar. Good, good. Pushing up. Yep, okay. And hey, remember, if you are enjoying the session, you found it useful, interesting, informative, do help me out. Click that like and subscribe button, whether you're on YouTube or on TradingView. That would help massively. Euro dollar again did not trigger. This one pushing back up. If I just token that, doesn't work. Take that away. I know that's an equal low there. Checking this. Nope. And then next, checking this. It's broken my 61.8. I feel that the euro dollar might move quite similar to the pound. Right, it's found 38.2 and it looks like it's bouncing back up. Now I'm looking at this. That works. That's 50% there. And it's pushing a little bit higher. So we should again see the euro. Look at the dollar pushing back down again. So we should see the euro test that resistance. And okay, here, look at this. We're looking at this and we're saying, dollar pound or pound dollar to push up towards resistance, test that level, then maybe that dollar strikes come back into play to pull it back down. So maybe what we can look at on the euro dollar is if it pushes up, not ready to buy yet, but if it pushes up above that resistance, right, could it in some way, if the dollar continues to weaken, could it push up to that next resistance level at about 1.0670? So maybe this is a long wait. This is a slightly long wait. You could be looking at a 40 pip move to the upside, a 20 pip move, stop loss, right? It's a very long wait. Actually, I say this might be a setup, but you're looking for it to move a good 60 pips before you do jump into a trade. So something to be very careful about. I would revise this. I don't think you should wait for 60 to try and make that little bit of a move. I'll look for it to a reaction at that 1.0620 level. Then we'll decide. Then we'll update you guys on the Discord channel on what to do from that point on. Okay, so wait for a reaction at 1.0620 resistance level. It looks like it's most likely to climb to that point, so we're looking for a reaction there. A rejection of that resistance could see it turn back down. A breakthrough could see 1.0670. So we do have a little bit more. I think we have a couple of other trades, so we can wait for that one to play out. Right? Despite how dollar is pushing down, we're seeing this yen continue to climb slightly. Aussie dollar still sitting at that support level. Kiwi not ready yet. Pound dollar, I want to see it push up. We might be looking to sell it back down. Euro is awaiting for now. Then onto the US Swiss franc. That dollar retracing back down now is pushing this lower. Okay, that's why we're seeing that red candle there that did not play out. Hey Goju, how are you doing? So we see that on the US Swiss franc, on the Swissy, it's broken 50%. So we can see 61 is the equal low there. That's very interesting. So that's a key point. If you're looking to get into the Swissy, this level is going to be crucial because it coincides. So I take that one away. And we can even take that one away. Right, it coincides with that 61.8, that previous level there. So, continuing, I want to see it bounce actually. I would love, I want to see that dollar strength come down and I'll see that bounce. But it's what happens at that support. If 9045 breaks, then we're going to see it continue lower. If not, then we're going to see it bounce back up. Now, looking at this, I'm thinking dollar going to push back down. It's going to sit there a little bit. It's going to sit here. Here, this is what you have. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm tossing up between is that I could be looking to sell down at 9030, stop loss tight, no more than 20 pips, no more than 25. Take profit, that 45, almost 50 pips to the downside. Could even go down to 90 pips, right? But we'll say 45 to start off with. And then if it doesn't break down from this level, then we have potentially 9080, stop loss 40 pips, take profit could go all the way back up there. Up to this 61.8, which is an 80 pip move. So that's what I can't decide. That's where I'm undecided on the US Swiss franc, right? And this is because it's highly dependent on the volatility, on the move of the dollar index. which is sitting right there at this point. So I want to see this push up. Then that's going to mean that we're going to see the Swiss franc push back up. Okay, so let's say that on the Swissy, if it fails to break, I like to buy more. If it fails to break, support, then we're looking to buy 0.9, 0.8040 to 80. 90, 904, 9080. 9080. Stop loss 40, take profit 80 to the upside. Yeah, so I just want to see, because this is, you could sell it down, but it does look like there are a couple of levels down there, and that's if the dollar index continues dropping. So I think I like that one more. I would like to see that 61.8 level holding. Okay. Then onto the US CAD, did not trigger that one. Sitting at 1.36. Sitting at 1.36. At this point, we have 60. Look at that. It's almost like what we see on the Swiss. 61.8, it's found the area, looks like it's pushing back up. Right, but remember that line there where it says Canadian dollar extend gains dragged higher by rising crude oil prices. So that's why we see that dropping. Then if we check Brent, pushing back up, crude consolidating, maybe pushing back up as well. See how that's reacting. 38.2. So if we can break above 86.7, if we can break above 86.7, 87, and then we'll see it continue climbing up. If we see that continue climbing up, then the US CAD is going to drop. So now looking at this, sitting at that support level, only dollar strength is going to push it back up. What do I have there? Okay, there. Only dollar strength is going to push it back up, and we're seeing dollar sitting right there. I do think that we're going to see some strength. So again, I would love to tell you more definitely on what could happen, but it looks like this scenario again where 1.3620, take profit 65 pips, stop loss in this case 30 pips, or sell down from below 61.8 because of the oil price climb, so 1.3550. Stop loss again, this one can be even 25 pips. Take profit could go down that 125 to the downside. I don't think it's going to go 125, but that's where the levels are. All right, even 140 pips to the downside. And it does seem to be attracted to that 1.34 level. Okay, so we have not a perfect straddle, but a buy and selling opportunity on the US CAD. Okay. US CAD. I will post that one. I do know that sometimes I say I'll post and I totally forget to, but I'll post that one up because there's a bit more to write about. So US CAD, we're looking at it. Testing 1.36 support area could bounce or on DXY strength or drop on oil price increase. Okay, and then I'll post up this chart with a bit more explanation as well. I think that makes sense. Does that make sense to everyone else? To everyone watching? Are you guys okay? Let me know. So 23.6 is right there. I might even push this up a little bit and say 1.3630. And that's a 30 pip stop loss right there. 35 pip stop loss. Okay. Good. All right. So that's the view on the US CAD. That makes sense. Okay. Then on to gold. All right. We spoke about this. We saw this consolidate, pushed up. I was thinking that it could get. I was doing a little bit of a scalp. Didn't do too much on gold because it was just too choppy. Too choppy in this current scenario. All right, we just don't know what's going to happen on the war front. So it pushed up. Thanks for that, Zachary. So it pushed up to about that 1865 level before retracing back down. Looking at this, sitting right there. If this pushes up, it's at that 23.6 level. It could break that. And then also 38.2 is right there. So gold could come back down only if it breaks below 1844. All right, so gold could come back down only if it breaks below 1844. Towards 61.8 at this point. So do nothing now, only if it comes down, then 1844.50. No, 1844. Yeah, below 1844 to 1830 or 1830. 31. Okay, so I'm going to say that for gold, we're looking for it to break below 1844, could trade lower to 1831 to 1831. Break below 1844, so do nothing now, break the level, get down there. Okay, and there we have it. Dollar index is still undecided, so I do think that it's going to sit there a little bit, maybe push back up after that. Kiwi dollar tracking lower, very well. Aussie dollar not this hour, maybe the next hour. We could see that sell. Thank you, Diana. Diana just said, great analysis. Your thorough, thought-pro examination of the market conditions and underlying factors. Thank you, Diana. I appreciate that. Aussie dollar, yeah, it does need to break that level to the downside. US yen, I want to see this push back up. Like I've been telling you guys, I want to see it get to that 150 level just so that I can try and sell it back down again. But it's not ready. Pound dollar sitting right there. Looks less likely now that it could push back up, but we'll see how that plays out. Euro dollar getting a little bit stronger to the upside. Sweezy is just sitting right there. And the US CAD as well. Okay, so not, if you are firing out trades left, right, center, and doing all kinds of stuff, you might be doing the wrong thing. Be extra careful, okay? Not a lot of trades to be had right now. I'm surprised that gold is not shooting up due to the surprise rocket attack. It shot up. It shot up already. It's done. I was going to make a joke, but I shouldn't. It shot up already. Based on that, right now looks like a retrace, or it could sit right there. And then if nothing further develops, could come back down. Maybe could even push back up, but we'll update on that. Thank you, Matic. You're most welcome. You have a good day too. Talk about briefly about my entry techniques. My entry techniques will be based on the current, all the levels that we have identified, the setups that we've identified here. I would wait for the price to get up to that point, to close at or above that point before I get into a trade. So it's all market execution. Don't like to, bit more of a control freak, so I don't really like putting orders in. Dollar shooting right back down. So Kiwi looks like it's forming up. It's got its mind of its own. Kiwi and Aussie. Everyone else seems to be still affected by that dollar. Thank you, Ken. Thanks, Val. So again, guys, if you haven't already, do join the Discord channel. And please remember, trade well, trade safe. And I'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. Take care now. Bye-bye.